continuous hours of drinking, I'm just not into it.
But you're also old. So when you were younger...
I've seen so many tears. I felt like the whitest girl. And you know what? I loved it.
I'm so excited to see you tonight.
First date, baby. First date, I can't wait. First date.
Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of First Dates with me as your host, Lauren Compton. This show is to find out what it's like to date the person in the hot seat and find out what their red flags are and if they have an opportunity for a second date. Are they dateable? We're going to find that out. Today, my guest is a stand-up comedian. He's an author. He's the host of the podcast Your Mom's House and Two Bears, One Cave, Tom Segura.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Love what you've done with the place.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
I like it a lot.
I do too.
I think it's pretty swanky.
It's very nice.
So I'll go ahead and tell you
Okay.
how we're going to do this. I have a
Please.
menu of questions.
I'm very excited.
I've got appetizer questions. So we'll get into like some easy stuff.
Okay.
Then we got main course, gets a little meatier. And then we'll end with a dessert question.
Okay.
And then I'm going to point out your red flags and keep score.
Okay.
So
We'll see.
we'll get started with my
Can't
favorite little first one.
Okay.
I have some appetizer questions. What do you do to relax?
Watch a bio on Ted Bundy or
Heavy psychological murders.
No, I mean my hobbies. I'll give you my hobbies right now.
Okay.
So I definitely enjoy like watching movies, things like that, relaxing at the house. I work out almost every day. I would say I'm an auto enthusiast. I like cars. I like going to the track with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting my pilot's license, so I've been
Wow.
flying somewhat regularly. It's hard with the tour, but the tour is over, so I've been working on doing that. And so that's kind of the hobbies that I have outside of the home, which is, you spend most of your time at home.
Flying sounds kind of scary. You don't have any room to fail.
Well, here's the thing that I've been flying helicopters, not planes. And the thing about a helicopter flying is that you're always a few seconds from dying.
So you take the people you don't really like with you.
I mean, there's no point where you just let go of things and go, now we're flying. Like you're always engaged. So it's kind of exciting. And I flew in something so fun yesterday that we went fully vertical in a chopper on it. It was nuts.
That sounds pretty cool.
So yeah, it was fun. It was
Do you
really
drink
fun.
alcohol? Not when you fly, but just in general?
I'm a very light drinker. So I would say in the last week I've had 2 drinks. So I'm not
That's
a big.
pretty good. What do you drink when you drink?
I had we had friends at the house, and one of them made a spritz, a Campari spritz.
Oh yeah.
So I had one. I didn't like. He made the other one too. The Aperol.
Aperol spritz.
That was much better.
It's a very white girl drink.
I felt like I felt. Let me tell you something. I felt like the whitest girl. And you know what? I loved it.
Did you only have one?
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't do that. I wish I could. I feel like it's like opening a bag of chips. I just can't have
I think
one.
the thing about me and alcohol is that it has to be. I don't like morning, day. It has to be evening, and I think the circumstance, like it either has to be this meal goes great with this, or we're really like turning it up tonight. Like we are here at this party, and like let's just go for it. But just like continuous hours of drinking, I'm just not into it.
But you're also old. So when you were younger, did you used to drink a lot when you were younger?
I mean, I maybe more, but I never was look, I've always had a night or two every year and continue to do where I like get hammered. I'm not saying like that still happens,
Yeah.
where you just go crazy with drinking. But when I was younger, I probably had more nights like that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, let's drink every day. I was never a daily drinker.
When you would go on dates with people, did you feel like alcohol would give you liquid courage and...
Not really. I mean, Yeah, I remember one. Here's the actually, I should say that I'm definitely not that guy. Is that I remember I got somebody told me I want you to go out with this girl. Told her, so I call her, and I'm young, not old now. Like I was like 21, 22 maybe. And I call her and I was like, hey, let's, you want to go out Friday or whatever. She's like, yeah, I know this area we can go and get drinks. And I was like, okay. And she was like, and she kept bringing it up. I was like, Jesus, like, do you think there's enough drinks in this area for you? Because it sounds like all you want to do is drink.
Yeah.
And then she was like, you're kind of a dick.
Calling her out on her shit.
I called her out within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we hadn't even gone out. And then I was like, whatever, like, well, I don't know, I get off later. And then she was like, yeah, you know what? I don't know if I want to go out with you. And I was like, well, why don't you go get drunk with someone else then? And I just hung up like that. Yeah.
I just completely
Yeah, I was
canceled
like,
that.
whatever. Yeah. And then my friend was like, dude, she was gorgeous. I was like, I don't care. She was a loser. So, like, yeah.
Do you get jealous easily?
I wouldn't say super easily. I mean, I insecurities like anybody else, but I don't think I'm like a possessive, super jealous dude.
So besides ditching a girl and being like, I'm not going on this date with you, if you were out on a date, have you ever ditched a girl or had like a exit strategy if a date was going really bad?
Man.
I like where this is going.
These ones make me feel bad though, right?
That's okay. I'm ready to call out a red flag.
You are? Okay. No, I do remember one time that I was in here's two quick ones. Once I was on a cruise and
That's a red flag.
that's a red flag. But I was in college. So it was our spring break cruise.
Okay.
And I went to I was drinking a lot.
Uh-huh.
The spring break.
I
I'm
get
like,
it. No.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It's gross. And I kind of, made out with this chick, hooked up. By the way, so I've had this conversation. Does hook up for you mean slept with or just means anything happened?
I think if you hook up with someone, you have sex.
Okay, I thought that too. And then I realized that, that there's some people who are like, I hooked up, and you're like, oh, you guys, you banged her? You're like, no, we just hooked up. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I thought that means...
Like you high-fived?
Yeah, like what the fuck? They're like, oh, we made out. And I'm like, what? So, all right, so we're in...
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't hook up. We just like made out and fooled around and
messed around.
Messed around. So we messed around, and she wasn't that great. So, so the next day, I was talking to somebody else who was way better, and
that was fast.
and she was like standing by, and I just acted like I couldn't see her.
Oh my gosh.
And she just stood here, and I just kept going like, yeah, so.
That's like an in-person ghosting.
Yeah, then I was like, why don't we go over here? And then we just like
walked right by her? Oh my gosh, that's some trauma for her.
Yeah. And then she like kind of kept appearing at the places I would be at, and I would just be like, I would just turn, and I never made eye contact. I just was like, I don't see you.
Yeah.
So that was pretty bad. But I was drunk and 22. Another time, I was at a bar in LA, and it was dark. It was like a cool vibe, and this girl approached me. Again, I'm like 22 or 23 years old. Approached me and was very forward and like flirty, and asked for my number. Right. Mm-hmm. Which I was like, wow, that's pretty like bold. And, it was cool the way she did it. So I was like, yeah, I gave her my number. She called me the next day and was like, just, talking about, what do you want to do? You want to do something this Friday? And I was like, sure. So I go to pick her up, and I was like, damn, it was dark in that bar. Like, this is not, this is wild. So I was immediately like, the fuck do I do? So she was like, let's go to this party. Let's go to this bar. Let's go, and I'm like, I'm trying to do the exit strategy.
Right.
I'm trying not to be like, I'm not going to leave her on the 405. I want to, but I'm not going to. So I just kind of like, I drive, and I just kind of shut down. Like, you don't want to keep, even if you find the person cool, if you're like, this is not going to go anywhere, you don't want to like keep engaging, like
Right.
making her laugh or like I'm having like pretend.
You don't want to let her think
You're having
that
a good time.
interested.
Exactly. So the only thing I did was just kind of like shut down. Like I just turned into an Uber driver. I was like, like, you know, you want me to turn it up? You know,
That's a red flag.
yeah. Okay. So
Blast the music so she can't speak.
yeah, I was like, you know, the voice is the best part about you, and it's not great. So
Dang.
when I find, you know, I did the spots. It was somebody had a party, and then I take her back to her place, and I was like, well, at least, you know, I got here. The whole thing was like, just get back to dropping her off.
Yeah.
And then she was like, do you want to come up? I was like, nope. And then hard no. And then she leaned in to kiss, and I gave her my cheek.
Oh.
But that's not misleading. That's a very clear message. And then
No, that's a direct, I'm not interested.
yeah, exactly. Which I wanted her to know.
Right.
So I did that, and then I was like, you know, you don't owe me for gas. Just get the fuck out. So, so no, I dropped her off, but I didn't like abandon her. I took her back.
That's
to her.
nice of you. We're moving into the main course questions.
Okay.
So, what does make it great for you when you go on a date? What's the...
Man, I mean, it's almost like saying, like, for me, how do you describe what great chemistry is? Like, because the thing is, like, that was the whole thing about dates is like you go, you know, you whatever, you order a couple drinks, some food, and then you start talking. And I think a great date is like you forget how much time has gone by, right? You're just lost in conversation. It's great to have some similar interests. Like I was big on that. I was talking about that recently about how like, well, I mean, if you don't have any similar interests, I don't think it's going to be a great relationship. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to line up on everything. But like if you're like, we don't like the same music, we don't like the same movies, we don't like the same activities, we don't like the same vacation. Like you have to have something that aligns or a few things.
Yeah.
And then there's like that thing that's like kind of magical, right? Like in the air where you just go like, I think you go like, I just want to keep talking to this person. That's great chemistry. I want to keep talking to you, you know?
But what if the girl is like a 10 out of 10 smoke show,
Uh-huh.
but you have no chemistry?
That question is a great one. And the answer is, how old are you when this happens? Because at 21, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to take this 10 out of 10 all over the world until the fucking brakes fall off. You know, like,
Yeah.
you just don't care. At my 44-year-old ass right now, I'd be like, there is not a chance in hell. I don't care. Because it's not enough. Yeah, I've lived too much and know
Yeah.
too much to know that as gorgeous and perfect as she might be, it's not worth it. Like I'm going to be exhausted immediately.
Yeah.
Like I can't. What's that? Someone said once, I can't isolate the hotness. In other words, like that you being super hot is not enough.
Right.
It's not enough. It's not enough for a relationship. Sure, like I'll split your ham for a night, but I am not going to embark on a journey with you. And then the funny thing is, it's so associated with the way you see them. Like you go, the person who you were like, man, she's so gorgeous. Then somebody else says that and you're like, who, her? You're like, oh, no.
She's a shit person.
Yeah. And then you don't even see them as that attractive person anymore.
Yeah.
So without the chemistry and stuff, it doesn't matter if it's 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter. Like you have to be able to talk.
Have you ever been embarrassed on a date?
Oh, God.
Have you ever not been embarrassed on a date?
Probably not. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm pretty like self-aware and I think guarded, so that protects you from a lot of embarrassment. I'm trying to think of like, and I think my brain actually shelves those things, you know,
It's like blackout moments.
yeah, where I'm like, because I can't really think of like, oh, that was embarrassing. But you tell me one. Have you ever been embarrassed on a date?
Oh yeah.
Doing what?
Well, so I was watching porn before a date. You know.
So you were really gearing up for this date. God. Was this a first date?
No, it wasn't a first date.
Okay.
It was like a third date.
Third date, and you're like, I got to get ready for this date.
I actually like to do that so that I wasn't horny
Oh,
for the
really?
date. Yeah.
So you blast one out and then you go on the date?
Yeah. And then I'm like
Oh.
chilling.
Oh, okay.
I'm not like,
Interesting.
so
So then if you actually really like then he's really got to earn it. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So I realized I was late for the date and I shut my computer. And I took my computer on the date because this was also someone I was like writing with. And so I was like, oh, we're gonna write together. And when I got to Blue Bottle
Uh-huh.
coffee shop in LA, just a normal coffee shop,
Yep.
I opened the laptop and it was just like pounding sounds.
Pounding sounds.
And I was so mortified that I couldn't move. I was just so frozen.
Yeah.
And the whole coffee shop heard it. So I shut the laptop, and for some horrific reason,
Yeah.
the sounds
Kept playing.
continued.
Yeah.
So I ran to the bathroom with the computer making noises all the way across, opened my computer, exited out of it, and I went back and I was beet red. I was so embarrassed.
It's mortifying. It's mortifying.
And I sit down with him and I'm like, so sorry about that. And he was like, it's fine. Do you want to go to my place?
Yeah,
Or? And
yeah.
I was like, no, I don't. And I never saw him again.
Okay.
I couldn't.
This prompted one. So
I'm glad that
yeah.
horror
Well,
story.
it did. No, you know what prompted it? It wasn't even like I was actually going to tell you because that happened to me with a cleaning lady coming in the house. And but it wasn't a date, right? And it was, and I did shut the laptop and it kept playing and it was horrible. But this one is kind of amazing. I did a play in LA. This is like years ago. I was like 22 and 23 years old. And this girl who I thought was really cute, who had come and see me do stand up with her boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Her boyfriend came, and so I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like I'd met her in an acting class. And
You really like these acting classes.
I'm telling you,
You go fishing, huh?
if you're in LA, it's fertile ground.
That's a red flag. You can't prey on actresses.
Yes, you can. They're all fucking zeros. So they're fucking the worst. So this fucking zero, she comes to my stand-up show, and I was a new stand-up, and then it was fine that her and her boyfriend come, and I go, I'm just, I'll see you at class on Wednesday or whatever. Months later, I'm in this play, and I think I had just like told some people like in an email thread, I'm doing this play, and it had a run. It had a 6-week run, and so one night she comes to watch the play alone, right? But whatever, like
She still has a boyfriend, Tom.
So she's watching the no. It's better than you think actually. She goes afterwards. She's like, "What are you doing afterward? Like, now that the play is over?" And I was like, "I'm just gonna go back." And she was like, "Do you want to like hang out or something?" And I was like, "Nah." And by the way, wait, let me tell you something. Gorgeous, like gorgeous girl. And I thought she was great, but I was like, no, because what am I going to hang out with you and with your boyfriend? Like, I don't want to hang out with you guys. Like, I didn't find them to be the most inspiring couple. I'm just like, no. So, so then I go, and I just remember that it was after the play, and I was so hungry. Sometimes after a show, you're just like, I was so hungry. And I went and I got like a double bacon cheeseburger from like Jack in the Box. And I'm in my apartment just like housing this thing. And I'm like, oh. And then she calls me and I'm like, hello. And she's like, can I ask you something? And I go, yeah. And she's like, yeah. She's like, why didn't you want to come over? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, just hungry. And she's like, oh, well, I was just at my place and just wanting to know why you wouldn't want to come and like hang out with me. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just hungry. Right. I didn't know it. I was like, I'm hungry. So I then hang up, I eat my burger, and I'm like, oh, it's like, I don't know. I'm like, I just don't know what to say about her. She calls me 2 weeks later and she's like, I got to tell you, this has just been sitting with me. She goes, do you not find me attractive? And I go, no, of course I find, like, she's a beautiful girl. I go, you're gorgeous. And she's like, so I go to your play and then I ask you to come hang out. and then you just wanted to eat a burger instead of spending time with me. And I go, well, you know, you have a boyfriend. And she's like, we broke up a while ago. And she goes, I was offering myself to you. And I was like, what? And then she used that expression, I was offering myself to you. And I go, I did not know that. I go, that was not clear. And I will come over right fucking now. And I did. I went over to her place. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was young. I was very young. Yeah.
Do you feel like dating essentially got easier for you once you got famous?
Well, I've never dated as a known person, you know, like I've been with Christina since I was 25.
Yeah.
So I've never been on a date. I'm sure there's parts of that would be easy, but I actually think that, I mean, I don't think I'll ever know. I think that that being well known is easy for like those, like, hey, would you like to go out? Quick thing.
Yeah.
But it's probably better, I think, for a well-known person to date someone who's like barely even knows who they are.
Yeah.
Doesn't even like, who are you? I didn't know. Like, that's probably better for a relationship, you know?
When you were dating Christina and you introduced her to your parents.
Yeah.
What did they think?
My dad fucking loved her so much because he met her at this, his brother was getting remarried,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought Christina to the wedding, and my dad would tease his younger sister a lot, and his sister was there, and he would like gross her out, you know, like do like booger stuff. He'd call her snots, things that mortified. She would be like, oh my, she was like this Southern lady. And so when she heard him say that, and then when we see her for the second time, my Christina goes, hi snots, like that, like greeted her by this nickname, which like everybody laughed. And then my dad was like, she's fucking awesome. Like and then Christina indulged him, you know, on his Vietnam stories and stuff. So he's like, I like her, buddy. She's great. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. He loved, yeah. And my mom loved her too. I think, my mom is more like, you know, suspicious of people and probably, but like my dad was just totally all in right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so curious what a conversation looks like when you decide to have kids. What did that conversation look like?
Well, the funny thing is, it's probably not what most people expect, in that I was like, hey, I really want to be a dad before we were even married. So I was like 27. I was like, I want to have kids. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, we can't make $500 a month, you know? Like, what are you talking about? So, but I just thought that was, you know, the whole point of.
Well, it is.
Yeah, so I was just like, I remember when we were engaged, I was like, you want to have kids, right? And she was like, I mean, for her, she was like, I guess one day. We're not talking about like this year, right? And I was like, no, but like kind of soon, you know? And she was definitely more apprehensive, which I think is usually the opposite of that, right? Or like the woman goes, I want to have kids, and the guy's like, I don't know. So it was that. And then I do remember once, I think it was just this year where like things came together for work, things were going well. And I think she just felt settled, because the woman has to say like, I'm ready to do this.
Yeah.
And her just being like, hey, I'm ready to do it. I was so excited. To have kids. Yeah.
Well, I have a question from the sound booth.
Okay.
If Christina died, what would your move be?
What would my move be?
Like,
do you
what
mean?
would you do?
Enjoy my life. I don't know. Like,
I feel like when I date someone and I'm really in love, I think I would just, I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
you get over it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, you would,
All right, Tom, that's a red flag.
that's, you'd be fine. No. I mean, look,
Now I see why you guys wanted that question.
there would be tears, but you know, You got 2 kids. You gotta move forward.
The show must go on.
We're not gonna skip a podcast that week. We're gonna fucking.
Right.
We're gonna do our stuff. We got things to do.
What do you think is your best quality?
What is my best quality? That's tough, man. It's so, don't you find it so hard to answer that about yourself?
No.
No? What is your best quality, Lauren?
I think that I'm funny, and I think that surprises people.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
I can make people laugh.
That's a good quality. All right, you win. I'm a really good listener with everybody like close to me, and I'm really good at paying attention to what people need,
Yeah.
and being engaged like that. I think that's a good quality.
I feel like sometimes good qualities can be double-edged swords too.
Yeah, because also you can in that case you can also not be paying it, and if they're used to you being engaged and paying attention, all of a sudden you don't. It feels deliberate or it feels cold, and so you also have to have like awareness about that.
Yeah. I'll go off on when someone is really down. I think that's one of my good qualities is I'm really
Lift
good
them
at
up.
finding the silver lining. But every now and then I can take it a little too far.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like fun and lighthearted, and then it's like just smacking it right back down by saying like one thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, here's the thing about that is that anybody who's funny has a little bit of a lack of impulse control on saying things. And that's why things are funny sometimes. They're funny because you didn't wait a moment to say it. You just said it. You
Right.
said, like the timing of it. So that's like anybody who's funny has said things and people are like, I can't believe you said that in that moment.
Yeah.
And that same exact thing that made you funny in that moment can make you hurtful in the next moment.
Yeah.
But if you go, well, I just will pull back, then you'll also pull back on the times when it's okay to say. So it kind of comes with it. Like
Yeah.
it is the other side of it. Like you're gonna say things that you shouldn't have said sometimes if you're a funny person.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hurt so many people's feelings. Like devastated people, and seen so many tears, and like really, really hurt people. And I've just gone like, I'm funny.
I'm gonna carry that on with me for
Yeah.
the rest of my life.
That's just you got to do it. You can't stop saying it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because then you're not being true to yourself.
Of course,
We could
yeah.
talk about this all day for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
So I'll end with my dessert question.
Oh, okay.
What is the sweetest thing you've ever done for Christina?
The sweetest thing I've ever done for her. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's funny because I always say I don't like to be surprised. I don't like surprises.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be surprised. I don't want a fucking surprise party, any of that shit. Like I've gotten really upset at that before. I'd be like, "Don't you fucking do that!" to me." But one time I remember. I don't know if this is the sweetest thing I've ever done. I'm just coming to mind, but I didn't have her friend's information, so I got it from her phone. I knew her best friend, and then I contacted her best friend, and I flew her out to surprise Christina for her birthday. So I did it all like, behind the scenes, and I didn't have a ton of money at the time, so it was a whole thing, to pay for the plane tickets and all that, and make that arrangement. And that was fun to just see her get totally surprised like that. I mean, I've done a lot of gifts, I've given her cool. I like presents.
Yeah.
And like trying to figure out like the gift to give someone.
Yeah.
So I've done a number of them for her. And she's like, "Oh my God." She's never like that excited. But I've gotten her cool stuff. But I think like bringing somebody to see her that was like important to her was a good one for Christina.
That's so sweet.
Thank you.
Let's recap your red flags. All right. So we had 4 red flags.
4?
That's not that many.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not that I was expecting more, but we had 4. The first one is you went on a cruise in college.
Ugh. I know. And the thing is, I fucking hate cruises. I
Yeah.
mean, I've learned to hate them. My parents loved going on them, and they took us on a bunch. It was, in my defense, it was like, what are we going to do this spring break? And I didn't know, and it was kind of a way to not spend a crazy amount.
You don't have to justify it.
I want to,
A
though.
red flag is a red flag.
Okay.
You can't take it back. We get it. You regret it. Everyone who goes on a cruise usually regrets it. It's like a hat. Girls like regret wearing
buying
hats. You know
hats.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's like just automatically
I
a
got
bad
a
decision.
fedora, and you're like, yeah,
Never. Then
lose that hat.
right.
Yeah.
Burn it. Second red flag. You blast music to avoid conversation.
With this dog that that I didn't want to connect with.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
But yeah, okay, fair enough.
Prey on actresses in acting classes. That's a red flag.
100%.
And then I think the final flag is just how easily you'd get over Christina's death.
Yeah, that one's bad.
Well, I mean, I think you're obviously worthy of a second date.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Love to have you back.
I would love to come back.
Guys, this was our first episode of First Date. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned. Tom, thank you for coming on.
Anytime. I can't wait to come
I
back.
feel like you're so easy to find, but
Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay.
You'll see me around here.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
First date, baby.
Are you really drinking a glass of milk with dinner?
First date, I can't wait.
You told your mom about me?
Just say you're ready.
Delete my number.